Hello, and welcome back to Laura's Plans. So, as you probably surmised from the title of the video, we're going to be talking today about One Book July and my decision to participate this year. You know, it actually took me by surprise when I did decide that I was probably going to do One Book July. The reason it took me by surprise was because the last 6 months I have been flipping back and forth through various different planner systems. I've pulled out planners that I haven't used in years. I mean, my ring systems. I've tried the Hobonichi system. I've used Stalogies. I've used bullet journals. So I've spent the last year, honestly, or the last 6 months of the year, kind of in unstable footing, I guess you would say, when it comes to my planners and my planner system. And I was thinking really hard about how One Book July could help me with that or hinder me. And the reality is, One Book July, if you're not sure what you want or what you need at any phase in your life, One Book July is a really great challenge to take on, because if you go with the original sort of principles, I don't want to call them rules, but I want to call them principles or guiding principles of One Book July. It's about paring it down to one book, one pen, and you. Well, okay, I'm a planner girl, right? So one book I can do. One pen, and to give up all of the different aesthetic things that I like probably isn't ever going to happen, but I can pare down. And especially after the debacle or the frustration that I've been feeling with how my planner has been going recently and all of the different things I've been trying, honestly, for the last 6 months, I think the idea of paring it down to the basics of what I need is a really good idea. And so I'm going to be participating in One Book July, and I'm going to try to bring you guys along for the ride. Now, in typical over-analytical planner girl fashion, I couldn't just pick a book and decide, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, right? No, I had to overanalyze it, and I had to write things down, and I had to build a plan, and so I did. And I'm going to share that with you, because is it almost ludicrous that I had to do that? I guess, but for me, it's part of the process. Anytime I decide to go into a new book or decide to make a change, I like to analyze, A, is it a want or a need? B, what are the functions it's going to take for me? And C, why? Why am I doing this? And over the last 6 months, I think I've forgotten that part, that I've been the magpie and drawn by really pretty shiny things. And I've forgotten about the reasons why I need a planner. And so I think One Book July is going to be really good in that it's going to help me reestablish those habits or routines that I had when using my planner. And secondly, the challenge itself for this year is something that I felt was very appropriate, at least for me, because my life is changing. One daughter is off in college and on her own, and really never going to move back into my house unless something really horrible goes on and she needs a place to stay, which totally she can move back in, but I don't anticipate her moving back. And my son is heading off to college, and to be honest, with football and everything else, I don't anticipate that he will probably be back either. And so here I am. Everything is changing, and I have been on unstable footing for about 6 months. Part of it is internal struggles with changes of life and changes of patterns, and other parts of it is my magpie nature. So I thought I'd bring you along for the ride, and in this first video kind of show you what I did to make my decision and to clean out what I was going to do versus what I'm not going to do in my one book for July. So if all of this interests you, I hope you'll stick around and watch as I go through the process and show you what I'm doing for One Book July. And if it seems like it's a little too much analysis for your, for your preference, that's fine. I totally understand. But with that said, why don't we go ahead and flip this around and I'll show you kind of what I did to prepare and then give you a walkthrough of what I set up and will be using for the month of July. So I'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so as I stated, we're going to start with what I did to prepare myself for the decision of participating in One Book July. And it really comes down to about these 3 pages. Now, there's multiple pages back here that kind of went into this, but overall, this is what I did in order to focus my intent and focus my decision on whether or not to participate in One Book July. Really what it came down to was I needed to discern what I need in my planner at this stage and what that is going to do to help me reach my goals, to build the routines and the habits that I need. Now, what's so flipping funny about this is that I had come up with this focal point last week, 2 weeks. I started ruminating on it about 2 weeks ago. I think it's in here. About 2 weeks ago, I was ruminating on One Book July and what I needed this go round to kind of be about. And I almost feel like, I think Burgess Taylor always says it, synchronicity. There was almost an element of synchronicity because when they announced what One Book July was going to be about, it was about routines and habits. And I had been sitting here for a couple of weeks, and I'll find it later, going over what I needed my planning system, if I brought it all together, what I needed it to do to make sure that I was hitting those routines and habits and that I was building a system that was truly based off what I needed because it was important to me. And so I went through and listed my wants and needs. I listed the options of books that I could use, decided on what I wanted there, and then I broke down the things that I would be including into the book itself on an overarching, like just bullet journal setup ideal, down to monthly, down to weekly, down to daily. And there, from each of those sections, I wrote down what would be included in the monthly section, what its function was, and why it was important, and what it was going to help me focus on regarding my goals, my habits, and my routines. And I did that, and I'm glad I did, because it made the setup of my One Book July that much easier. But it also made me realize that I'm not the only one that might be struggling with this kind of focus. What do I need in a planner, and how does what I include in my planner help me make those decisions? And so I'm really excited to do One Book July. Now, we all know the guiding principle. The original One Book July was one book, one pen, right? That's not going to happen. But I can pare it down. I can pare it down a lot compared to what my books normally look like, with all the tip-ins and all the paper and all the stickers and all the fluff, right? There's so much fluff in these things. I can pare that down, and that's what I've done here. So here's what I'm doing for One Book July. First, I want to talk about the supplies. Covers don't count because I will change this cover out. I change this cover out just about every week. Covers don't count. Just saying. No, they might, but they don't for me. I have one book. In this book, I will contain personal planning, work planning, family planning, as well as creative journaling and just daily journaling. My memory / emotional journaling will still be maintained in my separate journal, because if all of this was in here, you guys would never see the inside of this book. So that's going to be maintained in here. So we're collapsing basically 4 different things that I've been using into one book. What am I going to put it in? I'm putting it in an A5 Stalogy because, yes, it has 365 pages worth of paper, so I'm not worried about page consumption. And knowing myself, I can probably use this for at least 2 months, possibly 3 months, if I like what's happening. But I don't know what it's going to entail with work and everything else being in here. So I'm, limiting myself. I'm saying minimum of 2, possibly 3 if I like it. How did I come about to all that? Well, that was part of that process you saw earlier. So I have my one book, but I do not have my one pen. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. There's no way I could just do black pen and nothing else. I have limited it to 2 Tombow markers. I'm going to be using 942 and N89, and I purposely chose them to be more muted, more soft tones, because I need to have a little serenity after everything that went on in this book and after everything that's gone on for the last 6 months. So I decided to pick serene colors, and I'm going to go with those. And then as far as pens are concerned, my actual writing pens that I will use in this book are my Pilot Vanishing Point in an extra fine nib and my Pilot Kukunos. Now I have about 4 or 5 of these little pens rolling around my house or my desk at any given time. But this is a pen that I will actually go ahead and swap that out. I will put into my pen loop and carry around with me at all times. And these are kind of like, I don't know, most people call them big pens or whatever, just kind of those favorite pens you just keep around. Mine just happen to be, little inexpensive fountain pens because I love writing with fountain pen. And then I will use a micron for all of my setups because I love this 005 fine liner. It is my favorite to use for all setups. The other thing you're going to see, and that I am going to continue to use in my planner, are these Paper Minty stickers. I chose the chamomile, and this is kind of the overriding theme for the month of July because it is my birthday month. And daisies and chamomiles have always been my favorite. They were in my wedding bouquet. They're just my favorite flower. And so I wanted to have that aesthetic element on the page, and they're beautiful. So I will include those. The other thing I will include, or allow myself to include, is this chamomile washi tape by Paper Minty. It does match. And these dot stickers to use in a couple different habit trackers that I have. Habit trackers and just trackers in general. So that's basically what I'm using. And you can see I have stuff like fluff set up in here, and that's fine. It's pretty, it's cute to look at, but it's not in the book. So let's get started. I did set this up so that I could use it beyond just July, so that's why it does have my title, volume page in it, as well as I did set up the initial page for my index, my line spacing, and my future planning. You can see I did include some decorative elements in this because it's going to be for beyond 1 month and beyond 1 month July, and I wanted to be able to enjoy this for more than just a month. So I did pull those together, and my future planning and everything is ready to go. Then we turn the page, and we are at July. July starts as I want it to start, with a month on 2 page that is truly all about functional planning, pre-planning, and the marriage of work, family, home, all to create that balance on a page. It's a larger calendar box so that I can fit everything in. It does have just kind of a random task list that goes down the side column and a waiting on list down at the bottom. And basically, to decorate, I used a couple of stickers and a quote from Roman Payne from Rooftop Soliloquy. It's one of my favorites. And it says, life now was unfolding before me, constantly and visibly, like the flowers of summer that drop fan-like petals on eternal soil. And that's one of my favorite quotes, and I thought it was very apropos to what I'm trying to do here, because life is unfolding on these pages. So that is the function of this. It is my, the balance of life and work and home and everything, and allowing me to make decisions and schedule and pre-plan as need be on the page. The next page is my log, 1 line a day log, but I do tweak it. It's not quite the Writer Carol log. It is one moment, one thing, one thought that made me smile today. And I fill this in the evening so that I end each day on a positive note. There is no expectation here or judgment. If it's one word, if the only word I could put down that day was coffee because it's the only thing that made me smile that day, then that's what I put down. On other days, it could be a whole line with a couple different moments. But every single night I fill this in and I end my day on a positive note. The other thing that I include on here are my goals, and I'll write in my goal statements after this video. These are the 4 areas of life that I have placed as high importance areas for 2022 or 2021, pardon me. And each month I go in and write 3 action statements of what I'm going to be doing for those goals that month. And then I track from there different actions that I want to track throughout the month down here, just with a tick mark. If that day I took action towards that goal, I put a check mark there. And so this page, although cataloging in nature, is also allowing me to build habits and build routines based off of my goals and based off of what I need to have a positive energy flow in my life on a page. And it just, it's a nice way to end the evening. It's a nice way to just kind of take a breath and say, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. So then we come to a whole bunch of trackers. And I have to tell you guys, I was not highly creative in this, and I did it for a purpose. You are going to notice that most of the pages for the rest of the month include this kind of month-on-one page setup. And I did that for a reason. I was getting so caught up in how can I make this tracker look this way, or how can I make it do that, or how can I da-da-da-da-da. And I was tending to forget what it was about. So they all kind of look similar. There's some differences in them because their function is different, but I'm able to, without a thought, not worrying about the aesthetics, not worrying about how do they look on a page, I was able to make something for myself to be able to capture data that allows me to make decisions and reflect on every single page in a very simple, clean, and truthfully, I think aesthetically pleasing layout. Now, is it as cute as a bunch of mason jars on a page that you fill in or color, whatever? No, but that's not what I need right now. I need simple form, simple aesthetic, and function. And that's what July is about for me. So on the left-hand side, I have my mood tracker. This is one of those that I will use my stickers to denote different moods. And if I fall into it's an exceptionally happy day, or maybe it was a highly stressful day or whatever, I can take notes as to why, and then utilize my expressive journaling tool, which is my journal, to kind of work through that mentally for myself. Over here, it's my menu. And let's be honest, this is the biggest stress reliever for me, period. Done. I mean, there is nothing I hate more than getting out of work at the end of the day and not knowing what I'm going to make for dinner, because my boys, one of the first things out of their mouth is going to be, hey mom, what's for dinner? My husband and my son. I call them my boys. My husband and my son, they are ruled by their stomachs. And if I don't have a plan, I get stressed. And if I get stressed, everybody gets stressed. So having a menu plan works for me. And I do like having a monthly snapshot because it's something I can come back to. I'll star or highlight recipes that I tried out that I really like, that I want to keep trying. And I'll also rate recipes that aren't ever going to make it to this table again. So this for me is something I enjoy doing, but it also acts as a routine builder and a stress reliever for me. The next page is a content planner for social media. I have my calendar here so I can denote what I am doing on any given day regarding social media. I have an area to brainstorm ideas, as well as a running log so that I can keep track of when I posted and what I did for each of the 2 social media accounts that I use. I also built goals for each one of those so that I can make sure I am taking those actions above and meeting what I want to do there. And I built almost identical layout for work, which doesn't surprise me because it's content creation. Curriculum development is content creation. Instructional design is content creation. And so the layout that I used, I actually designed the layout first for work and then decided to apply it to social media. Once again, I have my calendar. I'll be able to put in the different phases of work that I'm in on any given project. I have notes for important things that I need to remember, like I have independent contractors that are working on our team right now, and their contracts are up at the end of the month. So I need to remember that so that I make sure the projects that we are on are completed by this date. I also have my scheduler here, as well as a rolling task list, and then I will fill in the projects we are assigned, currently working on, or new assignments here, and then anything that was completed will go here. So that's how I plan to kind of have that snapshot view of work, so that as I move into my weeklies and my dailies, I can come back here, reference it, and then build my plan based off of the information I find on these 2 pages. After work, I have my finances, because that is one of the goals for 2021. And I find that keeping a finance tracker with both a calendar, a listing of the reoccurring bills as well as expenses, keeps me accountable and has really helped me analyze where I'm spending money that I don't need to be spending money. And like subscriptions and things like that. We've pared down the amount of subscriptions we've had in the last 6 months considerably because we started to have this practice. So this is a habit that I am building. I've been using it, but I want to continue to build it until we reach that financial goal, and then we will reevaluate, reset, and rebuild. The next is exercise and decluttering. These are 2 areas that I need to focus on. I have every excuse in the world not to exercise. I'm too busy. I have too much to do, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not. I'm just avoiding it. I'm lazy, right? So now I'm going to use stickers because stickers make me happy. And I'm going to log in the different exercises we're doing. I have been in contact with a yoga studio that's right close to us, and I have booked myself for some classes there. I have found the little 15-minute dance videos that I'm going to plug into my day. I have set up a walking schedule with my husband, and I include housework and yard work as exercises because, good Lord, I sweat. So all of that's going to go in there, and then some of the data that I receive from my Apple Watch and my health app, I will record below. And that will give me the data to see whether or not I am building that habit, because I've had exercise on a habit tracker, just a little check mark habit tracker, seriously for the past 3 months. And yeah, if I did it 10 times, it was like there was no accountability for it and there was no plan for it. And so I really wasn't doing it. Now I'm going to come in and each week build my plan of what I want to do and make sure that at the end of the day, I put in this statistical information so that I can analyze if I'm doing what I set out to do, and I build that habit. Decluttering is another, because I've lived in this house for 20 years. I have more junk than I know what to do with, and now that children are leaving the nest, it's time to get rid of the children's junk and my junk. So decluttering is a 15-minute challenge, minimum 15 minutes. And if I do my 15 minutes, I get a sticker. If I don't, I don't. And then I do have 2 major home projects that we set up that I built a section for here in the back, where I put my project template in, and then I have project notes so that we can get those done throughout the year. Those will also be denoted in this tracker with a sticker for each of the projects. And then I roll right into my weekly. And it makes me laugh because it took several days to build all of these, because yes, I drew in all these boxes myself. And from the time I put in these a couple days ago, I already have a couple different changes and additions I needed to make. So I just put it on a sticky note and put it here, and I will add them in as we get there. But normally, you guys know, all of these pages would have been just chock full of other fluff pages. And I've really just pared it down and said, no, I don't need those. Those are not what I need in order to build the habits and routines I want. So my weekly is staying very similar to what I always use, which is almost like a 2-column system on the right-hand column. And it's very much like a week's plan. Are all of my days of the week, where I have all of my scheduled events, tasks, appointments, anything that has date-specific information that goes with it gets put here. This allows me to pre-plan because I am not setting up dailies in advance. The other thing I have is a rolling task list that is Alistair method, so that I can write down the different to-dos and tasks that I have, and then as I get through them, I assign them to the date that they were completed and mark them off. And I can also look at this list to build my daily to-dos. So that's there. And, you know, down at the bottom, I just have a little to buy section. That's really because, yes, I cook every day. So the other thing that I built, and before we get into this that I did tip in, is my food log. And if you watched last week's video, you know what a pain in the ass that food log was, and I think I've solved it. I just made simple boxes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you know, snacks, and Monday through Sunday. So I'll fill it in this way. And then I even have a water tracker down at the bottom. The last thing that I included was that daily routine template that I got from Paper Test Designs. And the reason I included it, even though it's a tip-in, is because it works. Every week I can go in and evaluate the different daily routines that I have and put them into kind of a scheduled slot. So my morning routines, my afternoon routines, my evening routines. And these routines reflect on the goals that I listed out in, you know, my goal page. They reflect on the habits that I'm trying to build, and they reflect on the things that I need to do to function with that home work life balance. And so I put those in. The thing I did was I kept this back page blank so that I can reflect here at the end of the week to see what happened here. Did it all work? Did it not? Is it too much? Do I need to pare it down? Do I have more time? Can I add more in? Is there something that is an afterthought and I don't even need to have it on this list anymore? And if that's the case, I can reflect on that and make a change moving into next week. Then the last page that I have set up, well, the last 2 pages are Monday's page, which is a daily, and a page for journaling or notes. I did keep my time bar because I do have to keep track of what projects I'm working on and for how much time. I also like this because I go in and kind of map out my day and fill in my day so that, you know, I can say, yep, exercise is one of those things I want. I'm going to do that here. Decluttering, I'm going to do that here. I have my to-do list, and as the day goes on, I kind of fill in how I'm going to do that here. I also included my intentions because I have to start my day with intention. I have to start my day with intent because if I don't, I flounder. So I write down my daily intentions. I set my schedule for the day. I do my to-dos, and realize I don't set my schedule for the day. Like, I don't sit here and write it all out, but mentally I catalog everything I need to do. And then there's certain things that I will put in, like appointments or whatever, but then the rest is a capturing of what happens in each hour of the day until the end of the day. And then over here will be journaling notes. If I need to take meeting notes for a meeting or project notes, I can do that. And then turn the page, and on Tuesday morning, I'll build Tuesday morning's day. And so that's it. That's how I'm using the Stalogy. Because it is going to last more than that, I did go ahead. I do have my project section, but I did go ahead and put in my collections. I have my when did I last. I think Lindsay Scribbles titled it that. I joke around that this is my gray hair tracker because that way I can remember, even though I have more and more gray hairs every day. These are my household product trackers. I do have a couple lists, like my planner wish list, and this will be my gift list. This is a care package ideas tracker, which anyone who knows of really great things to include in college care packages, drop a comment below. Like, if you ever received one and you loved it, or you've given one and the kid just went nuts over it, let me know, because my child is going 17 hours away, and I want to send him some good care packages. My daughter was only an hour away, so we tended just to drop stuff off. You know, we'd just pop up there, take her out to dinner, bring her a couple bags worth of goodies or whatever. But I actually want to ship these to him and make sure that he gets them, you know, at least once a month. Then date night ideas, because yeah, we're going to be empty nesters. And right now, when we think about going on a date, it always involves a restaurant. Well, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to live a healthier lifestyle. So I need to come up with date ideas that don't involve food, and so on and so forth. So there's lists back there. But that's it. That's One Book July. That's what I plan on doing. Tell me, are you guys doing One Book July? If you are, what are you using? What are your thoughts? How do you feel about that challenge, about habits and routines? And how are you addressing that in your One Book July? I would love to know. I would really love for you guys to include those in the comments below. If you have any questions, if you think I'm insane for putting all of this in one book, please let me know. I love reading your comments. And as always, I want to say thank you for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. And I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.